I got DC Hotep with me, man. Take that mask off, man.
You just had a shot. I just had a shot.
Man, take that mask off, man.
Yeah, what's good with
Man.
it? Now I'm back. Now my name is Hotep all of a sudden.
I'm here with DC Hotep. That's what I called you in the videos before.
Yeah.
As a homeowner, you own how many homes in DC?
Collectively, my family owns probably 6.
6 collectively. Okay, and you manage many of those properties.
Right.
So you're invested in District of Columbia.
I guess that's the way to say it. Yeah.
You know, you have 2 boys, and they go to school in the District of Columbia.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you were raised in the District of Columbia.
Yes.
You went to school in the District of Columbia.
Private schools, yes.
Right. But still, you still went to school in the District
of Columbia. And took the bus to school in the District of Columbia.
Yeah. Yes. You went to school in the District of Columbia.
Right.
Right. Okay. So you are raising a family in the District of Columbia.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What do you, now you said you're upset because people are blaming BLM and
I just don't
Antifa.
know what they mean by that.
Because all the protests last year
right.
are one of the reasons why every city,
uh-huh.
all of them are experiencing spikes in murder and carjackings, and 90.
How does that line up? I'm just saying, how did the 2 line up?
90% of the suspects in these Chicago, DC, Baltimore, Phillies, 90+% of the suspects, according to victim surveys and arrests, also camera footage, surveillance footage, 90+% of the suspects and the victims are black.
Mm-hmm.
And
what that have to do with BLM?
Well, the protests have seemed to invoke. Well, we know that things were a certain way.
What?
Things were a certain way. These cities were not great as far as crime.
Yeah, they were completely divested. But
now it's way worse. Okay, so DC, we just had 200 murders for the first time in 20 years last year. Okay. Carjackings up 350%.
Mm-hmm.
Something and a lot of our teens are doing this stuff. What do you think about that as someone who's invested in this city, not somebody who just came here from somewhere else and rented an apartment for a couple of weeks and is about to go somewhere else? We're talking about as someone who's invested in this city.
And in terms of think of it, I think it's horrible. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks it's a bad thing that kids are out here getting into less than desirable activities, but
less than desirable activities. They're killing people during carjackings. Yeah. They're murdering people in the streets. They're knocking old ladies upside the head.
Like it doesn't. You saying it like the United States of America isn't bombing Afghanistan right now? Yes, they are murdering people just like U.S. soldiers are gonna murder somebody today. Relatively.
What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
What does that have to do with Black Lives Matter? That's the same equivalent.
Well, Black Lives Matter is happening in this country. So can we stick to things that are going on?
Not in Afghanistan. I mean, they pulled some troops out.
Can we talk about what's going on the streets of D.C. and the streets of other democratically run cities since the spring of St. Floyd? Since all the George Floyd protests.
Okay.
He is a saint, right?
I don't know I mean, did he get canonized? I don't know what you mean.
I mean, yeah, he got $20 million in GoFundMe and $27 million settlement. And people walking around with shirts. I just told you 200 people were murdered in D.C. last year.
But
black.
He was murdered by
a who?
A servant of the state, meaning that his death is not like me killing you or you killing me. That's like the state imposing
to who?
Authority.
If you killed me, my family would be pretty upset about that.
But that's different. That's different than a cop.
So would I, for the record.
That's different than a cop killing you, because that's the state, the servant of the state the extent of the ability of the law.
Okay, so
All of that sort of thing.
fine. His death is more important than anybody else's
I ain't
death.
gonna say more important. I'm saying
Worthy
just-
of more attention, right?
I didn't say that either.
All right, well, fine. Look,
I
what do
don't
you?
say it's more worthy of more
So,
attention. It gets more
so
attention.
since those protests,
Mm.
crime in black districts, black jurisdictions, places where black people are in large numbers, places where black people live, has gone through the roof. And it was like, if you look at this tweet, carjackings were up 150% last year. So in 2020, they were up 150% from 2019. But they're up 350% from last year. So it's like,
Yeah, but y'all look. Here's the thing, right? Okay, so what are y'all planning to do about that? What
I'm
y'all are
asking
planning to
you,
do- What I'm
dude.
planning to do about that is the same policy that has gotten the kids into the situation they're in now. And what I'm saying ultimately is that it's policies that stop children from having access to all the resources they need to not make those decisions that allows them to make those decisions.
Can you be just level with me and stop talking like you trying, like you, like
No,
you,
I'm
like,
saying,
like you on the damn Senate floor or some shit?
Well, I mean, this is a civic conversation, right? I mean,
What
it's very general.
policies, man? What are you talking about,
Policy in
man?
particular. Let's pick one. Let's pick one in particular. One policy in particular. Youth work. Youth work was very instrumental for me when I was a kid. It just gave me an understanding of money, right?
You been to Target lately? You been to Walmart? Ain't nothing but a bunch of teens in there working. If teens want jobs, they can go to Target or Walmart.
Nah, ain't no teens like we talking about doing these carjackings and no Target working. They 20-something college students working at Target.
Well, they
Trader
also
Joe, Target, Trader Joe's, Walmart might have.
they're a little younger.
bit-
A lot of these kids are. I worked at Home Depot for 8 years.
What that means?
I know what type of kids are working
If I
there.
go to Home Depot right now.
You're going to be a bunch of 18 and not 16, but 18 and 19-year-olds. A gang of them.
not,
gang
not
of
on the
them.
cash registers and jazz.
In the lot, pushing the carts back into the, or
Okay.
on the sales floor in certain departments,
Totally.
or in the back
Totally.
receiving. Yeah.
We said youth work.
I'm not talking. I didn't say they was going to be
No,
like
I'm
a
saying-
vice
I'm
president
saying youth
of
work.
marketing
I'm
for
saying
Home
youth-
Depot. I'm talking
saying
about
youth work. Youth
Yeah.
work. When I was a kid, I flipped pizzas.
yeah.
All I'm saying is that the city and the same state that's able to carry out murder in the streets, like you talking about, George Floyd was killed in the streets. The same
In Minneapolis.
streets, in the streets.
But okay, I got something for you. I just want to ask you about this.
Mm.
I want to ask you about this. There's 17,985 police departments in this country.
You know, 13 departments just in this city. But what about it?
No, I'm talking about like I'm not. No, I'm no. We have Park Police, we have Capitol Police.
You got a lot of more. You got Park.
Capitol.
You got Park, City, Capitol.
The Metropolitan Police Department is the city police.
Is that what I said?
The Metropolitan
Yeah, you
Police
got.
Department.
We said Park. You got.
You got
Secret Service,
PG.
You got Secret Service. No, I'm not even getting outside.
Oh well,
of DC.
that nobody gonna interact with the Secret Service.
Shit. You ain't gonna see. That's the part that I don't understand. Like, here's the thing, right? Y'all be like, oh, as a DC homeowner, you don't have any interaction with, or why do you have no particular awareness of carjacking? Well, I have just as much as a DC homeowner probability of interacting with a youth as I do with a clandestine officer of the law, due to the number of police departments and interacting districts I have to deal with. So as a business person in the city, you have to transverse. You have to make your way through not only the city side, what you talking about, but the legislative side, the civic side, all those types of things play on your ability to run your business in this town.
But what I'm saying is so are you saying that those cops are gonna kill you? You're afraid, that like somebody coming to inspect your home is gonna shoot you or something? What are you talking about?
As opposed to youth walking down the street, these youth who are on the street going to get their little coffees or whatever they go to get in the middle of the day. When I pass them on U Street, I have to worry about anything with them? That's what I'm saying. Like, what's the probability? There's nothing to worry about. Any more than what I'm saying.
I'll give you that.
You're saying that because the carjackings are up,
yeah,
that I have something particular to worry about from these black youth. What I'm saying is these black youth been suffering from the same and actually ratcheted up militarized police interaction, which causes them to come back that police interaction where they gotta have guns because the cops got guns.
Oh, so you're saying that the kids on the street in the hood got guns because the cops have guns?
I say everybody got guns because everybody got guns. If we're putting it at that level, everybody in this country got guns because everybody got guns. It's not like anybody who feels the necessity for a gun suddenly is feeling safer.
So hold on.
One group or another getting a gun. They always gonna feel insecure, and they need.
So hold on, time out. We're getting lost here.
Okay.
What about the carjackings going up and the youth crime going up and the crime in general going up and it being in every city and the most of the victims being black and most of the suspects or assailants being black? What do you feel about that, black man? What do you think about that?
I think it's terrible, but I think it's systemic of this country. I think there's a significant divestment in investment in black people.
But they just
there has been that since the inception of the country.
Hold on, there's just been a significant investment. Goldman Sachs just gave a bunch of billions of dollars to black women.
I mean, a drop in the bucket, bro. Like, there's so much money.
That's more than a drop. Hold on.
If you want to say Goldman Sachs,
that's more than a drop in the bucket.
If you want to say Goldman Sachs gave $100 billion to quote unquote black people, $100 billion is a drop in the bucket of what is needed to correct the situation.
No. That's not a drop. That's a bucket.
That's a drop in the bucket.
No, that's a bucket.
That's a drop in the required bucket.
A drop in the bucket is some GoFundMe type stuff. Somebody get a $50,000 in their GoFundMe.
No,
what Goldman Sachs just did
$100 billion. It doesn't. What I'm gonna say it to you again. $100 billion, where you can record the statistics to me that carjackings are up 350%. That 350% rise in carjackings is evidence of the divestment that is playing out up until now. And the same way as you say, like, technology's going up, the militarization of the police is going up, the repercussions of the divestment is going up as well.
So the majority of the carjackings are taking place by young people under 18. This guy says, how did we lose our youth like this?
I don't see how you have that question. What do you mean, how did you lose your youth like this? You have no clue. If you look at the history of this country has always divested, especially from black youth. And at any point where the youth make a movement, what's the thing that comes against them? Violence. They don't get any opportunity to voice themselves, to make any change, to make any policy change. They get violence to go back into the shadows. And then when they come out of the underworld that they've been forced into, then they're called carjackers and blah, 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 blah.
Hold on. What violence goes against black youth?
Okay. So you telling me?
Give me an example. Just give me not
Black
okay.
Lives Matter protests we was just talking about. I was just about to say.
What Black Lives Matter protests were black?
All of them. All of the Black Lives Matter protests.
But they were burning.
Were met with violence from.
No, they weren't. They were met with. Hold on. So you're saying that the violence? Are you telling me that the Black Lives Matter protests were mostly peaceful?
They were mostly peaceful.
And the problem at the Black Lives Matter protests were not the protesters burning down buildings and looting businesses and throwing rocks and things at cops and throwing Molotov cocktails. But the problem...
This is going to be a semantical thing, yes. I'm saying that the problem was the police agitation, yes. And the reason that I can say what I'm saying on my side and you can say what you're saying on your side is there's absolutely no way of bearing out either side.
No, but you've been to Black Lives Matter protests, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe you haven't.
Early on. I mean, shit, that shit was in the middle of quarantine. I didn't go on.
So you didn't go to any of the protests?
No.
Did you follow it on the news?
Little.
So how are you coming to this conclusion that people were that it was the police that were the problem, and that they were treated so much
as the news following would say that the protesters were the cause. I followed it enough to see what I saw out of the thing. It's like, how much news do you follow to see what you see?
Well, all I'm saying is it was a lot of rioting and a lot of I would say looting. It wasn't.
Opposed to what, bro? So you saying now? Okay, let's put it in historical context. We saying, okay, in the '60s when they protested, the police, they were met with what? When they protested in the '60s, they was met with what?
Okay,
violence.
Okay,
bro.
you're not gonna like this. You're not gonna like this. I've seen so much lying and so much exaggerating from black folk in the last couple of years that I'm starting to doubt that the '60s was that bad.
I've seen the videos, so I'm
yeah, but like
I've seen the videos, so your dislike of black report is like
listen.
So black people can't tell the truth about what happened.
Listen. What I'm saying is like even if you look at Freedom Summer, the two Jewish guys and the one black guy got killed in Freedom Summer. Remember, they went down all those people went down to help protest, help sign all those people up for the voting down in I think it was Alabama somewhere, Mississippi. Yeah, and 3 of them were killed.
Right.
And there was thousands of them people down there.
Medgar Evers and the other two?
No, it wasn't Medgar Evers. That was Mississippi Burning. It was some other guy, some other.
I remember you talking about the white man with the glasses. I remember
exactly him. Okay. Yeah. And those 3 were killed, and nobody else was killed after that. Those 3 were killed, and nobody else was killed after that.
So that is being met with what? Violence. They came down there to protest, do their little march, and they were met with violence. They were met with violence. So what I'm saying is
this is a Black Lives Matter protest, and nobody was killed here. In Myanmar right now, I just want you to know, in Myanmar right now, there were 100. They had a protest in Myanmar yesterday.
So you're saying it would be better if we had a totalitarian state where the cops just unleashed in the streets?
What I'm saying is that for you to sit here and act like Black Lives Matter was met with some kind of monumental violence from the police.
I didn't say monumental. It was met with violence from the police.
But they were burning.
From the police.
Look at this. What are the police? All right, if you're a police officer, right? Can I put you in the state of? You're a police officer,
right? You're
patrolling a protest. Mm-hmm. This ends up being what the protest looks like,
right?
You could just imagine what's going on down here, because you see what's going on at the top. Just imagine what these people are doing.
Mm-hmm. What's his command? It was to stand back, and then that's what he's told to do.
But what I'm saying is, so how could they be? They were told to stand back and let the people do what they do, but you're still telling me that they were met with violence.
This was one instance.
No, that was every city, all the cities.
You're saying that you're saying.
No, I'm saying from March. I'm saying from May 20th. I'm saying from May 25th.
You're saying in no instance where they burned were they met with police violence, and I'm saying in situations where there was no burning, they were met with police violence. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying in both situations.
You're not as knowledgeable about it as I am.
I couldn't concede that. I mean,
what do you mean? You just told me. You just. This is one protest.
I'm looking at it right here.
You just told me. You just know. You know. There's no question that you're not as knowledgeable about this as I am. You just told me as much.
As what?
You said you didn't follow it.
I followed it as much as I needed to see, just like you followed as much as you needed to see. No, I haven't studied the name of the DA who.
No, I don't need to know all that. So, I'm not asking you all that. All I'm asking you, all I want to know is why was there so much burning and violence, and why was there so many people getting killed? Like a bunch of people got killed, by a bunch of black people got killed at these protests by other black people that, you know, because these protests turned into looting situations, wild, chaotic situations where people were getting into arguments and fights.
For a justification of a riot, like a riot is a riot is a riot. You know what I'm saying? People do all kind of. That's when you ask me, was I down there in it? No.
No, what I'm asking you is, how can you say that if you know that the police stood back and watched them burn down people's businesses and watched them loot businesses and watched them, you know, just to completely destroy whole business districts and residential districts.
Man, you saw all.
Why
the videos,
can you?
Because I saw the videos of police marching down the street, pushing little girls and pushing old people and splitting their heads.
Where's that video?
Look up old man, 75-year-old.
Yeah, that was in Buffalo. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Buffalo. That old man walked straight into the.
That got caught on video.
Everything got caught.
One instance that got caught on video.
Everything got caught. There's camera phones and there's CNN.
And what I'm saying
everything
is
got caught on camera.
Across the board, the police did their violence, the civilians did their insanity, and the reason for all of it being able to take place is the ratcheting of historical situations in this country, and a lack of policy that actually is set to make any difference in this historical problems. They just ratchet to militarization, ratchet to technology, ratchet to disinvestment, actually. Because what's the outcome of what you're saying? Oh, Black Lives Matter is a problem, which at surface, like, the theory of Black Lives Matter being a problem is problematic. Right?
Hold on. So if you think that Black Lives Matter is a problem, that thought
the theory
alone
of Black Lives Matter being a problem. Black Lives Matter, bro. And
no, the group, but the group.
Yeah, but you can't separate the group from the theme, which is why the group named itself that.
But they're not doing any. But 99% of the black lives that are lost in another way than what they're doing. To like for instance, a lot of the businesses in these cities, I'm not gonna say the majority, but a lot of the businesses in these cities that were looted during the Black Lives Matter protests were black-owned businesses.
Some. There's not that many black-owned businesses by and large.
Right, but if there's not a lot in that per capita, remember the per capita thing we were talking about? So all right, go ahead. So what do you have to say about that?
I mean, what about?
Look at this white liberal. He's down there, and this white liberal's down there breaking a window in the downtown part of a city at night, a seedy part of that city where he would never be. Only reason he gets to be out there acting out. At no other time would this white guy draw attention to himself at night in the downtown of a seedy city. He would make himself small. But now that he's out there as a Black Lives Matter protester, he's breaking windows with his skateboard and acting out. But he would be terrified.
Let me try and get what you're saying. What you're trying to say ultimately is that protesting is bad, or protesting for black people is bad, or what's the point of
no, destroying cities.
So protesting
because
is
someone
bad?
In another city, because of destroying cities because a career.
So protesting is bad.
I'll tell you, destroying a city because a career criminal in another city died while resisting arrest is bad.
What? Destroying a city because you felt like it's time to riot is bad. Okay, destroying a city is bad, but protesting and using the only power that I don't find it smart. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't find protests to be intelligent, really, generally at all. I think it's kind of outdated technology. But since that's the technology they're using, what other recourse do they really have? I mean, ultimately, they want, something changed. They want to make a statement. They want something. It's the same as you brought up Myanmar or Burma. Okay, so in Burma, they don't have the right to gather in the street, but it's still the only recourse they have.
Okay, now here's what I'm saying is, why was there burning?
What that have to do with black people, though?
Okay, let's get into that. What does all of this have to do with black people?
What does that have to do? What does the burning have to do with black people? And what does the burning have to do with? We just saw it was a white dude breaking the window. Now, I'm not saying black people didn't break no windows or burn no shit. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah, but there was a lot of white people. Yes,
they doing what they doing amongst.
But these were liberals. These were white liberals. These were not white conservatives. These were white liberals that were on the side of Black Lives Matter.
But what? No, that on the side of is the questionable thing.
Hold on, you telling me these white liberals that are down there protesting, they're the loudest people?
Be out there to break whatever they breaking. Like, and there was all kind of talk and video of Proud Boys and all other people showing up to do their breaking and looting amongst these people.
No, I'm talking about the white liberals that be that leading the protest. A lot of these protests, Black Lives Matter, are led. They did a survey and they did field data. 89% of the protesters at these Black Lives Matter rallies are white people.
Well, that's because black people probably feel like me and ain't getting out there and doing that craziness to come and get beat up for whatever purpose. What's the purpose?
But no black people are getting beat up at these protests.
What? Come on, everybody's getting beat up.
No,
part of the raid, 100 people at a time, 300 people at a time.
Hold on.
And then
you think that's what's going on at these Black Lives Matter protests? Black people are getting beat up? Where you getting this information from? Where are you getting this from?
The same place you are. I'm looking at it in front of you.
You didn't see nobody getting beat up? You saw people?
Just to Black Lives Matter protest incarceration. That's what we're looking for.
No, I didn't say people weren't getting arrested for destroying things, ultimately, rarely, but for the most part, those people were down there and they got free reign to do whatever they wanted to do. I mean, aside from killing people and things like that and other various other crimes, but...
Okay, well, if what you just said is true, that's exactly the same thing that happened on January the 6th, so what are we talking about?
Yeah, but the January the 6th was one event, and there were only hold on. Can I finish? Please? Can I please finish?
Go ahead.
That was one day. They stormed a place where there's 100 senators, 2 of whom are black. Which, and when I say black, I mean like Cory Booker and Kamala Harris were the 2 senators. And she was not a senator anymore, so Tim Scott. So you had Tim Scott and Cory Booker. So you had 2 senators that were black. You have 300 plus congressmen and women, of which 5% of those congressmen and women are black. So they stormed a place where 95% of the people who worked there, including the staffers, the pages, and the everybody who works in the Capitol building, 95% of the people there were not black.
What that have to do with it? They let them in there and let them out of there, and we just said before that
they got a bunch of people got arrested.
After the case.
No, they got arrested that day, and then a bunch more later.
Dude,
they arrested 50-something people that day.
Dude, they led on live TV a woman out, an old woman out by her hand, led by a police officer, down the front steps of the Capitol building.
All right, fine, whatever. But look, That's small potatoes. Listen, you have a situation where these Black Lives Matter protests were happening every day in every city for 6 months. The Capitol riots was 1, 2 or 3 hour situation in a building where 95% of the people who worked there weren't black. Why are black?
What does that aspect have to do with any of it?
Because black people are the people that are most enraged about the Capitol riots and calling it a racial thing are black people.
Because they lived, not because of who worked there. It ain't got shit to do with who worked.
Okay, so who were the Black Lives? Name me a Black Lives Matter protester since we.
You gotta look it up. I don't know nobody's name.
Who was killed by police?
Look it up.
During these protests, during these summers. All right, let's look it up. I thought you would know their names because.
Why would I?
It was so many, right?
I don't really get what we're saying. And we're doing kill.
Okay, can I finish? Can I? You gotta let me finish the statement, man. 25 people killed during the protest of 2020, right? There were protests every night in almost every city. So let's see who was killed and by who. Okay? Let's see if these people were killed by other protesters. Look at this. There were 9,000 Black Lives Matter demonstrations that took place across the U.S. after the killing of George Floyd. 9,000. We just talked about 100 plus people were killed. Hold on.
I mean, you take a long time with whatever
okay,
you're saying,
well, let me finish it.
And the point that I'm making off what you're saying is
Let me finish.
You're saying 9,000 don't have something
Can
they have
I
to say.
finish?
No, because what you're saying is taking a long time, bro.
No.
So what I'm saying is, if you're gonna say if we made it as far as 9,000 protests. That kind of eradicates
in like
whatever.
5 months. In like 5.
Yes, 9,000, and it lasted for 5 months.
And 25 people were killed.
That kind of negates.
And 25 people were killed. But these people weren't killed by police. These people were killed by other protesters. You lost 25 lives during your protest. And where's all the what I'm saying is, if a group called Black Lives Matter can have 9,000 demonstrations, many of them violent, many of them involve burning,
and many of them extremely peaceful and involving children walking down the street. So what's the point?
Okay, what I'm saying is, for them to have this many, and then this many, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 25 people died. 25 people died. So it says, it's right here, it says, news reports at the height of the demonstration over Floyd's killing cited dozens of deaths in connection with protests, but many of those turned out to be examples of deadly crimes carried out in the vicinity of protests, which means during looting, like our friend David Dorn, while people were looting and rioting. Rather than directly related to the demonstrations themselves, the researchers concluded that, okay, so they're basically saying that a lot of the people who got killed were just killed because there was protesting and looting going on. Okay, most of the protesters killed this year were shot to death, and many of the incidents involved confrontations at protests that escalated and turned deadly when at least one of the people involved had a gun. So we're not talking about cops.
Right.
So the protesters were killed not by cops, they were killed by each other. So when you back to the Capitol riots, where are all these black people that got killed, unlike the people at the Capitol riots? Because I can tell you right now, 4 Capitol rioters died, including Ashley Babbitt, who was shot at point blank in her neck by a black police officer.
For attempting to infiltrate the congressional chambers. Yeah, she got shot in her neck. What I'm saying is that
But the lady in Georgia the other day, the congresswoman, the state senator in Georgia that tried to infiltrate the meeting yesterday, you guys acted like it was wrong for her to get arrested. You're saying you don't have a problem with this white woman.
I don't
Hold on, you don't have a problem with that white woman being shot in her neck, unarmed white woman. She did not have any weapon, being shot in the neck for trying to break down a door in the Capitol building.
Versus what?
She could have been arrested.
That's the same thing they say about every time.
So you don't have any.
No, George Floyd could have been arrested.
He was being arrested though.
He could have actually just been put in the car and taken away.
And he said he didn't want to go in the car.
Come on, bro.
They had him in the car.
Bruh.
Hold on. Did you see the video?
9 minutes.
No, did you see the whole? Did you see the video before? They had him in the car.
Minutes.
He fought his way out of the car.
Come on, bro. 9 minutes.
He was in the car, and he fought his way out, and then asked to be put on the ground.
9 minutes.
All right. Anyway. So what I'm saying is, anyway, all of these people, where are the people in the Black Lives Matter protest that were shot and killed? Because you said that your problem is that the white people who stormed the Capitol weren't shot and killed. And I showed you one that was shot and killed.
One that was shot and killed, right.
Right, at one. So of these 9,000, so that was one protest.
I don't know off the top of my head. You have a phone in your hand, search.
We are.
I'm killed by police. Why are you going through this long ass article?
Okay, let's see. You want to see black?
Yes, killed by police.
Killed by police.
You asking me a question that Google's going to give you the answer for.
Look. All right, killed by police.
Yes. That first statement says they got what they wanted.
Killings by police declined after Black Lives Matter protest.
Black Lives Matter got what they wanted. Where's the actual killings by police?
And I don't think that is actually true, but I think we gotta wait to see there were none, because we don't know their names. The Black Lives Matter protester that would have been killed by the cop, we would know his name. It would have been plastered everywhere.
Okay, so I'm not even.
What?
No,
Are you arguing that?
Yeah,
if a Black Lives Matter protester had been killed by a cop during one of these protests, we wouldn't.
The density of the crowd when that person was killed depends on.
It depends on the density
of the crowd.
Jacob Blake got killed in Kenosha.
Right.
And we all know his name.
What's the guy who shot him's name? The
cop?
No, I thought
Jacob Blake is the guy who got killed, who got shot in the back.
That's not the one who got shot in the street, and the kid was walking down the street with the rifle. What's that kid?
Oh yeah, that's Kenosha. Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah,
the white kid.
That's not who he killed.
No. Kyle Rittenhouse killed two white guys at a Black Lives Matter protest. Because 90% of the people at Black Lives Matter protest are white.
All I'm saying is that the number of killings, which you are not finding who did or who didn't.
No. I'm telling you, no black people got Ashley Babbitt'd at any Black Lives Matter protests. It didn't happen.
Oh, well, that's good. I mean, it's great.
You see what we got to deal with liberals, man? We gonna do. I'm gonna make sure I give y'all some more from DC Hotep. I'm gonna put his link to his channel. Make sure you go to his channel and go in his comment section and tell him how you really feel about him and his political viewpoint. Reggae Rap 6. That's the YouTube channel.
That's Indigenous Reggae channel.
Oh, Indigenous Reggae channel. Yeah, go. I'm gonna put the link. Go spam his channel and tell him what you really think about him. We out.